ndị ọchịchị ga-eweta ahụike ọ bụrụ na nrọ ọrụ ike mụta aka ọrụ ndị ọchịchị ga-emepe ụzọ ọrụ n'Ebonyi Imo ọ bụrụ na nkwanye ugwu nye agbụrụ niile n'otu ndọrọ ndọrọ ọchịchị ndị ọchịchị ga-ekpe ikpe ziri ezi nye onye ọbụla nkwekọrịta gọọmenti na nzaghachi ndị obodo ụmụnne m na ụmụnna m bilie ka anyị bulie Naijiria elu nkwekọrịta dị ọchịchị anyị ga-aza ọnụ obodo anyị ga-eme ya ọ bụ nkwekọrịta anyị na anyị ga-eme ka Naijiria gaa nke ọma Naijiria obodo mmanụ aṅụ na mmiri ara ehi na-asọ ụzọ ọma o ụlọ ọgwụ ọma o ebe obibi ọma o igbo ndị ọma pụtanụ ka anyị yọleba onye agbakwara nke nwanne ya gbara let's go
Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu na Imo anyị na-ekwe nkwa na anyị ga-eso ụzọ asaa na asaa ndị na-achị anyị wepụtara.
Powered by National Orientation Agency.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
Extraordinary. Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264, VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break that.
Hello and welcome to the Midday News on Voice of the People Television. I'm Chioma Innocent. First, the headlines. Few traders return as Onitsha market reopens amid sit-at-home. Alison Madueke trial resumes in London. Peter Obi slams federal government over multiple budgets. NLC to UC to hold solidarity rally on February 3rd. On insecurity, northern leaders back peace in Southeast and South-South. Also, NATO urges African leaders to sustain democracy. In business, Naira ends January at 1,391 Naira per dollar. FX gap narrows. In sports, Osimhen scores 200th career goal. And in the world of entertainment, Tyler, Lamar, Bad Bunny, Dalai Lama, Aura V make Grammy history. Now the news in detail. We begin the midday news in Anambra State, where some traders at Onitsha main market have reopened their shops following a directive from Governor Charles Soludo. The market was shut last Monday for 1 week over compliance with the Monday sit-at-home order by non-state actors. The governor had warned of extended closures if traders fail to reopen. Our correspondent, Ndu Okbaleze, reports that while some traders are reopening their shops, others remain hesitant despite heavy security presence. Bright Street, usually bustling, has few traders, vehicles, or passers-by. Elsewhere, activity at the Niger Bridge head entry gate is returning to normal, with people going about their businesses. Now joining us from Awka, the Anambra State capital, for the midday news, we have Ndu Okbaleze, VOP TV's correspondent from Awka, Anambra State. How are you doing today, Ndu? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing today? Good to have you here. Let's talk about the sit-at-home. It was literally drama about a week ago when Governor Chukwuma Soludo stormed on the main market and ordered that it be closed for a week. After that, there was a protest, and after that, the market leaders had a meeting with the governor. What is the level of compliance today? Are the traders out? Are they going about their businesses? What is the level of compliance, not just of the traders in the Onitsha main markets, but of the people of Anambra State to the sit-at-home in other parts of the state?
Yeah, starting from the Onitsha main market, which is actually the center of the whole matter, traders are returning in trickles. Let me say in trickles, but as time goes on, what I witnessed around 10 in the morning. It's not exactly what is happening now. More traders have returned to their shops and they are opening. I think it's a question of, giving them that confidence that security is there. More and more of them are returning and opening their shops. Business is picking up gradually, but not everybody. It can never be said to be as it used to be so far. But there's that hope that, by maybe 2 or 4 in the evening, more of them would have settled down.
So the traders who are out right now, would you say that they are displaying their wares with confidence, or they are moving about warily to see if anything could happen, especially with the fact that IPOB specifically declared a sit-at-home today? Of course, we know that in certain states in the southeast, the sit-at-home, there hasn't really been much compliance, especially in states like Enugu and especially Ebonyi. But in Anambra State, we've seen compliance a lot, and the people chalk it down to safety and security, saying they do not want any problem from IPOB, some of whom may try to enforce the sit-at-home. So would you say they're moving about with confidence, or they're moving about with wariness?
Yes, I think it's an admixture of the two. Some of them are going about their business with a lot of confidence, a renewed vigor to, catch up with what they've lost over the years, while some are still quite apprehensive that something may happen. That fear that has been instilled in them is not something that can wipe overnight. So many of them are still harboring it, and you can see them on their faces, wearing long faces, not because they don't want to do their business, but because they were afraid that anything can happen. But like I said, as more of them are coming in, confidence is, taking over even those that were doubting. I am so quite optimistic that by the end of the day and by next Monday, that main market will be in full swing.
All right, then. Let's talk about, security situation. Are you seeing the presence of security agents in and around the market and in other parts of the state, especially with the fact, like I said before, that IPOB specifically mandated a sit-at-home today in solidarity with Nnamdi Kanu, who is in detention?
Yes. There's a lot of security personnel from, joint task force of the Army, the police, and the Navy, stationed with their vehicles close to the main market and all other parts of the state. In fact, in Oka here, people used to come out on Mondays because this is where the government is, and they feel safer and more secure in Oka. So it's not a very big issue seeing vehicles. Vehicles are moving about in Oka here now. But like I said, down there in Onitsha, the bridgehead of the entry point from Asaba, Delta State, into Anambra State, Onitsha, there's that free movement because security is everywhere. People are beginning to pick up, that confidence and going about their normal businesses, even though vehicles are not yet as they used to be along the stretches, but they are coming out. Unlike what used to happen, previous Mondays. Today, we can say there's a lot of improvements.
Were you able to speak to any of the traders to understand their mindset towards the sit-at-home and why they chose to open, so that we understand if they are opening the markets or opening their shops so that Governor Soludo does not shut down the market indefinitely or bulldoze it like he threatened, or they are opening because they believe that there should no longer be a sit-at-home in Anambra State?
Some of them who spoke to me off camera, there are three categories. Two of them are born out of fear. One, just like you said, is the fear. Some of them are opening because they don't want their shops to be bulldozed by the government or to be closed indefinitely. So they are opening to respond to the order of the government. And there are others who are not very, very keen on opening because they were afraid. They had that fear that non-state actors will somehow do something that will, be quite untoward. And, there's that still fear of security of their lives. That's another group. Then the other group is people that are tired, sick and tired of staying at home on Mondays. We are talking about Onitsha traders. These are people that don't want to lose a minute. When their colleagues do things like wedding or even burial ceremonies, do you know that they will still be in the market around 2 p.m.? 3, it's around 4 that they'll close their shops to go and attend the wedding of their colleagues, just because they don't want to lose any hour of the business. Now, these are the people that have been losing out 4 hours every Monday. So some of them are quite enthusiastic and they're coming out, and others, there's nobody in that market that doesn't want to sell, honestly. All of them want to sell. But like I said, the issue of some of them are coming out of fear and some are coming out willingly because they want to end it. At the end of the day, ending of sit-at-home is the ultimate.
All right, thank you so much, Ndo Okpaleze, for your report. That's coming from Anambra State. We do appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now, that report is coming from our correspondent Ndu Okpaleze in Awka, Anambra State, talking about the sit-at-home and the level of compliance of traders amid the showdown that occurred in the Onitsha main market last week. In the meantime, the midday news continues with a report that proceedings have resumed today in London in the corruption trial of former Nigerian Petroleum Minister Diezani Alison Madueke. She denies multiple charges of misconduct while overseeing Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Prosecutors say she received cash and luxury gifts in exchange for influence over energy contracts. The case has major implications for accountability in the global energy industry. We'll bring you updates in our subsequent bulletins. Moving on, former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has criticized the federal government over what he described as fiscal recklessness in the management of national budgets. In a statement posted on his X account, Obi questioned which budget Nigeria is currently operating ahead of the Senate's expected approval of the 2026 budget on March 17. He said, since 2023, Nigeria has been implementing multiple budgets simultaneously, a practice he described as abnormal and harmful to public finance management. Obi noted that President Bola Tinubu inherited a 21.83 trillion naira budget in 2023 and later introduced a 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget, which he said favored public office holders amid economic hardship. He added that budgets of 35.06 trillion naira in 2024 and 54.99 trillion naira in 2025 have brought total appropriations under the current administration to over 114 trillion naira in less than 3 years. According to Obi, budget implementation has remained below 50% despite the scale of spending, raising concerns about transparency and credibility. He also criticized the extension and reenactment of the 2024 and 2025 budgets, alleging that details of revised budgets and capital projects were not disclosed. Obi warned that such fiscal practices were unsustainable and called on the government to restore discipline and transparency in budget management. In another development, the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress say they will stage a peaceful solidarity rally in February in support of the Joint Union Action Committee. The unions made the announcement in a joint statement signed in Abuja by NLC General Secretary Benson Upa and TUC Secretary General Nuhu Toro. The rally backs the ongoing strike by Federal Capital Development Authority workers under JUAC over unpaid salaries. The workers began an indefinite strike on January 19, shutting down key administrative offices, including the FCTA Secretariat and the FCDA. The action followed the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum to the FCTA management over unresolved labor and welfare issues. The union say the rally reaffirmed Labour's position that an injury to one worker is an injury to all, adding that the struggle is legitimate and will continue until justice is achieved. Elsewhere, the Northern Traditional Rulers Council for the South, South and Southeast has pledged to support security agencies and state governments in addressing security challenges across the regions. The council's chairman, Yaru Danladi, disclosed this while briefing journalists on resolutions reached at a 2-day emergency meeting in Umuahia, Abia State. Danladi, who is also the leader of the Hausa community in Abia State, said northern communities would work closely with governors, host communities and security agencies to promote peace and harmony. He said the meeting was convened in response to emerging security concerns and resolved to support security agencies with timely intelligence. In Abia State, Danladi said representatives would be appointed in all 17 local government areas to ensure the prompt flow of information to security authorities. He reaffirmed the council's commitment to supporting state governments in the fight against crime, stressing that criminal elements would not be shielded. Danladi also urged youths in northern communities to obey the laws of their host state and live peacefully with their neighbors. Similarly, leader of the Hausa community in Enugu State, Abubakar Sambo, said the council remained committed to strengthening peace, security, and cooperation in the regions. In Cross River State, the head of the Hausa Muslim Ummah, Garba Lawan, said the community had continued to enjoy cordial relations with host communities and the state governments, describing it as evidence of sustained peaceful coexistence. Still in the news, the Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, NIDO Worldwide, has called on African leaders to recommit to presidential term limits to end what it described as seat-tight governance and ensure smooth democratic transitions. The coordinating chairman worldwide, Chibuzo Ubochi, made the call during a telephone interview with newsmen in Abuja. Ubochi, who also chairs NIDO Europe, urged the African Union and regional blocs to treat unconstitutional tenure extensions with the same seriousness as military coups. He said the growing trend of leaders manipulating constitutions to remain in power was weakening governance institutions and eroding public trust. According to him, seat-tight governance fuels instability, restricts civic space, and is often linked to corruption and human rights abuses. Ubochi stressed the need for transparent voter registration, open results management systems, and credible election monitoring, including structured diaspora participation. The NIDO chairman also advocated legal frameworks for independent candidates, diaspora voting rights, and constitutional provisions allowing dual citizenship, insisting leadership should be earned on merit, not monopolized by entrenched political parties. Now joining us virtually for the midday news analysis, we have Sheson Okwade, a public affairs analyst. How are you doing today, Sheson? Welcome to the midday news.
Good afternoon, Chiom, and good afternoon to all our viewers across the globe. Happy New Month. I'm glad to be with you this afternoon.
Good to have you here, Sheson. Happy New Month to you. Let's begin with NIDO urging African leaders to treat what they call sit-tight syndrome with the same seriousness that they treat military coups. That is to say, any leader who claims to be in a democracy and yet refuses to leave after the agreed time frame should not be allowed. So, and African leaders should look into that. Now, we've seen this trend over time with certain presidents running for 5th, 6th, 7th term. We've seen presidents sitting tight for over 40 years, making their family members, their sons, their daughters, their sons-in-law and their daughters-in-law members of their cabinet across Africa. And this is fueling fear across the region that we might continue to have older people in power who just want to be there for the sake of being there and not because they want to do well for their citizens. What's your take on this?
Thank you very much for the question. Sincerely speaking, the mentality of most of our African leaders is view of what is expected when it comes to certain basic things in terms of integrity, in terms of morality, in terms of those exemplary qualities of a good leader. And you discover that a lot of them have been entrenched with greed and a lot of things. Just like you said in your prologue, you ask yourself what a 5-year-old, 90-year-old person is doing in place of leadership, leading country for over 30, 40 years. That is no longer democracy. It's more of anarchy. It's more of an autocratic way of leadership. Because situation where you don't allow the tenets of democracy to play the key role of government of the people, by the people, and for the people, which always give room for alternative areas to operate. And democracy is not being played there. And we've seen this happen in lots of African settings, which has taken away the tenet of what is expected. You see, most of these things are actually being documented in African setting. But part of the things you do see happening is that when it comes to the implementation of those documentation, it becomes a different thing entirely. And I'll continue to say, because there are no consequences, everybody just got to live by it and feel that that is actually the way to go. You now discover that they just take it out of the, in all fairness, it's against the tenets of democracy, but it is what it is that we have been saying in African democracy, because they feel that they can actually take things the way it is without any revoke by the citizen that they claim they are leading.
It's quite unfortunate. But then, since we've seen this across Africa, would we expect the same African leaders who are looking to do the same to now try to usurp the powers of other African leaders who are already doing this?
Yeah, well, you see, when there are no consequences for wrongdoing, then the abnormal becomes normal. And that's why you see that in all areas where some of these leaders have failed, you will see the intervention of the military taking over, because even when they are there and they claim that they are there for the people, they expect that the people should enjoy certain benefits of democracy. Well, most of the time, it's just elitistic in nature, just for the few people that are the corridor. Consequences, what you try as much as possible to do or to say is that you encourage others to fall in line with what is actually happening. But it's actually not the route to go. But because there are no consequences for wrongdoing, you expect that more people, you know where it started from, but now it's actually is increasing on a yearly basis of leaders refusing. We've had a taste of it even in Nigeria here, where you see some political leader trying to look at third term. If that has killed the audio of having third term, possibly they would have, studied the terrain and be able to see themselves, being there for eternity. That they will now hand over. But whether we like it or not, even if that is not being done practically, to see them stay beyond the 8 years as done, you see a lot of them bringing their spouses, their children, coming in to take over from what it is. It's because there are no consequences, and even the masses do not have the voice at which they can make things happen and correct some of these leaders. It's all about influence, which is paraded around by money.
All right, then let's come back to Nigeria, actually going to Abuja, where the NLT and the TUC say they will stage a peaceful solidarity walk tomorrow, February the 3rd, in support of the Joint Union Action Committee. Now, the unions had actually made the announcement saying that they want to go on a solidarity walk. The JUAC, that's the Joint Union Action Committee, have been rallying. They've been striking over unpaid salaries. Of course, you know the story. There was a situation about 2 weeks ago where Wike went to talk to them and they chased after him. They were shouting, "Ole, ole, thief, thief, thief. Hold him, stop him, don't let him go." And the very next day, Wike obtained the court order saying that strike must stop, the protest must stop, and anyone who does not, resume work will have themselves to blame. But now the NLC and the TUC are backing them. They're saying this time around, it will be a solidarity rally. It will be a peaceful rally. Do you think this will achieve the desired effect?
Yeah, well, you see, first and foremost, I will start from the place where some of our leaders speak from. They are very swift in getting court injunction that will favor their own act as against the one that are issued in favor of the people against the leader. If the union are actually advocating for something, it's part of what they have seen, the kind of affluence, the kind of life some of these politicians live at the detriment of the civil servant, at the detriment of the common citizen that you have out there. And I will continue to tell individuals, you can always have your way while you are in power, but what becomes of you when you are out of power? We've seen a lot of them. There was a story I read about a politician that left office, a former rep member that did not survive a sickness based on the fact that the hospital they took him to was not having the necessary equipment that was actually needed. And that speaks volume that when you are there, you can enjoy the largesse of traveling on taxpayers' money outside the shore of this country, but is it a lifestyle you can maintain when you are out of office? So I would just say that the NUC joining the NLC, I'll consider that as, well, a solidarity movement. It's good, but how much can they do it without disturbing the activity of some of the people that wants to go on their own? If it's properly managed, it's fine. But when it starts distorting the free movement of other citizens of the country, causing traffic, then it becomes an issue that it will be difficult to manage. And I always say the issue of strike should be properly managed for those that will hijack it, TUC, NUC should just be prepared to make sure that they tame the activities of the miscreants that might want to take this opportunity as a way of eating back and causing mayhem even in the environment. But it's a welcome development because they are all unionists. But our leaders should be very much of concern to the yearning of the citizen, and not just using that power, that fiat that they have, and the instrumentality of the courts as against what is expected. No, if everybody is doing well, nobody wants to challenge the status quo, but we all know what it is in the environment, most especially in the medical sector these days.
All right, then. Let's look at another situation that occurred a few days ago. There is a video currently making the rounds where FCT Minister Nyesom Wike talked about why and how they're having difficulty paying these salaries. And he said, if they pay salaries, where would they get money to fix roads and then buy vehicles and then buy cars? And there is a report, I've been trying to get that report, that he recently bought vehicles. I think it was for the Renewed Hope agenda, or I'm going to get the right report in the course of the conversation, right? But then these salaries remain unpaid. So do we blame him, or do we say it's the system that he met on ground? Are these workers being unfair to him, or are they right to hold him by the jugular?
Yeah, well, I will tell you that a laborer deserves his or her wages. If people have actually put in their efforts to contribute to the bottom line, there is no justification to see that you are not. So I have not read that report. So if somebody is coming to tell you that you are being denied your salary because you are building infrastructure, who are the people to enjoy the infrastructure you are building? Who are the people to ride the vehicle that you're actually buying, or you're actually doing some of those things for your personal gain? So I have not listened to the report, but it speaks ill of such leaders to come out to say that because of infrastructural development, the wages of laborers who are put in there, because who are the people that are actually going to work out the modality for you actualizing those infrastructural development that you're talking about? Is it not the staff that are disgruntled? These are ways in which we open door for people to go the route of going to the extension of stealing, misappropriating funds, because they understand that their salary will not be paid on time and they must survive in things that they actually need to do. So if indeed that is the position of the minister, he speaks ill of it, and I want to believe that it's just beyond. It's just themselves, because of the development that they are carrying out. Are they withholding any of their salary? The answer is no. So why must you actually, because of development and the assets you claim you are buying, deny the wages? So how do they want them to survive? So if this is done, you're only opening more way for corruption, stealing, and diversion of funds so that people can have that survival. It will be referred to as survival of the fittest because government has failed in actually doing what is expected. You are just held bound to make sure that you pay salary. If you feel that the staff strength is outblown, that you cannot cope, you retrench and be able to pay those that are actually doing the work that is expected of them, not owing anybody, all because you claim that you are doing infrastructural development.
All right. The report I talked about is a video making the rounds on social media that claims that Wike purchased and distributed new 2025 Toyota buses for Tinubu's campaign, and this was in Rivers State. So he reportedly purchased and distributed several brand new 2025 Toyota Hiace buses for the campaign of President Bola Tinubu in Rivers State. Now, these videos, of course, were shared by people in Rivers State. Now, according to the Post, the buses were reportedly distributed to support President Bola Tinubu's political campaign activities in the state. Now, one would be led to believe that this is a private, would I say, enterprise. It's just him contributing to the re-election of the president. But again, brand new vehicles, and yet salaries of workers in Abuja is not being paid. Should we then say that this is what the public finance is being used for?
It's part of what I said at the initial stage about the leaders in Africa. You complain that we don't have funds, and people can see right under their nose what some of the funds that are meant for the development of the nation are actually used for. When you look at the number of vehicles that you've said in question, 2025 model, I've just said, I look at the cost of each one of the Toyota I's and the number in question, the development that would have impacted. Because some of these vehicles after election, you discover that you just see it rove around, some are even being abandoned. And it speaks volume that if it is the hard-earned money of an individual that is put to use in procuring this and not the free funds that some of the politicians are having access to, you will see how they put some of these things to use as against the way they just use it recklessly. But the fact remains, like you said, it will tell you that it is not government money. It is his personal contribution to the 2027 election. But you ask yourself, how can you spend that much and the people working under you that you claim you are living in living an impoverished life and are entrenched with poverty? These are the reasons why a lot of people will tell you that Nigerian is not poor. We are not supposed to even be borrowing with the resources that we are endowed with. But because of the attitude of the leaders and the political will to put up a system that check the SSCs of some of these leaders is what has taken us to where we are today. So you can imagine if some of these funds that are used in procuring these buses are used in setting up organization for people to be, employed for productivity, how far we would have gone. We keep asking them, how many of the politicians has a business venture that can contribute to the development of the country? The answer is majority of them don't have. Even when they get the money, they will prefer to even invest in treasury bills and financial instruments as against being productive in setting up factories and industry. It is, even if it is to set up, these are vehicles, and I'm sure when they want to do that, even for few of them that have that business idea, do they get new vehicle, the latest one, to actually carry out for the comfort of their staff? The answer is no. It is the attitude of our leaders in Africa, not peculiar to Nigeria, and that's why a lot of people will continue to raise agitation on the misappropriation of the resources that we have entrusted in their hands.
All right, then. Let's talk about Obi questioning the Nigerian government on which budget is currently in use in the country. He posted a statement on his X handle questioning which budget Nigeria is currently operating ahead of the Senate's expected approval of the 2026 budget on March 17. If the Senate approves the 2026 budget on March 17, that would be about 2.5 months already gone out of the year. So he talked about how Nigeria has been implementing multiple budgets simultaneously. He described the practice as abnormal, harmful and inimical to public finance management. He says President Bola Tinubu inherited a 21.83 trillion naira budget in 2023. He later introduced a 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget. He said this favored public office holders amid economic hardship. He talks about a budget of 35.06 trillion naira in 2024, 54.99 trillion in 2025. This has brought total appropriations under the current administration to over 114 trillion naira in less than 3 years. In the midst of all of this hefty amount, what budget is Nigeria currently running? If we are just implementing the 2026 budget 8 weeks, yes, about 8 weeks or about 10 weeks actually into the new year.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sure you know this was the center discussion at the beginning of the year when the Senate did not pass the 2026 appropriation bill. And what we were made to understand is that as at that time, we were running two different budgets, 2024, 2025, and we are 2026, making 3. And what the federal government put across was that the consolidation of 2024 and 2025 will be brought to an end by March 31st, which by then they would have passed the new budget for implementation for 2026. The truth of the matter is the way and manner we have public finance is not that which we learned and which we supposed to be implementing. But the question we always ask ourselves is majority of this leader questions authority when they are outside the scope. But when they get in there, most of the time they do worse than what they criticize other people to do. That has always been the major problem, because we came in, we said Buhari didn't do it right. We are correcting a lot of things. And here we are looking at a lot of things that you ask yourself question about, most especially in the area of finance and budgeting. So this is what gives so much worries. I'll give you a practical example of things that people have asked us. That subsidy was removed. We all welcomed it at that particular point in time. But what is the visible thing that we have seen that the government have actually used the subsidy funds for, rather than telling us that more are actually being gotten by the states and we are not seeing the development? The idea may be lofty in the sense that you're actually pushing more funds even to the subnational so that the grassroots can benefit from some of this thing. But nobody is monitoring the activity. And that on its own seems to now have a major. How many people have understanding of the budget of their states, not to even talk of the local government? And here we are, that we are having more funds that are actually being put there. We need to just have a system that check activities of some of the things that we've actually documented. When that is not done, I can tell you, even if any of these leaders that are criticizing it comes on board, people will take advantage because there is no system to check the activity and excesses of some of the things that they're actually doing.
All right, then. Let's talk about the fears. Let's talk about other political matters now. The fears of a one-party state. Whether we like it or not, we are inching closer to 2027, even though we just entered into 2026. The opposition keeps talking about what they will do differently. They keep talking about how APC must go in 2027. But in the midst of all of this, we are seeing 31 APC governors out of 36 governors in Nigeria. We are seeing APC sweeping elections at the grassroots. The Abuja municipal area elections are coming up, and it is expected that the APC will sweep it, just like they did in Rivers State last year, just like they did in Lagos State as well in the July 12 elections in 2025. Does the opposition look to you like they're really serious about getting President Bola Tinubu out of that seat in 2027, since they claim that is their main focus? I'm talking about the PDP with their crisis, the Labour Party with their internal issues, even though that seems to have been resolved. But Abure says he will still go to court on the leadership tussle. I'm talking about the ADC with the myriad of people in the party who have their ambitions. Which of these opposition figures and parties look like they are really ready to take the bull by the horn and sack the APC in 2027?
Choma, let me take it on a lighter mood. If you ask me, now who I go ask? Yeah, sincerely speaking, when it comes to the political space, it's quite interesting and funny. The way issues are actually being handled. You stated out a lot of things as we speak. Just last week, the court, ruled out the convention that was held in Ibadan for PDP. And you ask, who are the actual main PDP members? What direction are they taking? What direction are they actually going? People are living there because they don't want a situation where the side they belong to might not favor them. So, and the court will now throw out their case after they've spent so much money. That was what led to the exit of the likes of the Osun State governor. And a lot of them that are actually leaving PDP for APC also hang on that, because majority of them needed the second term, and they feel they can hide under the ambience of Mr. President, who is already seeking the second term. Be it as it may, any governor that you see that is not part of that 31, I think we only excuse Labour, of which anything can still happen between now. The other ones, I think they are not seeking re-election. They might be seen to be in the party they claim they are, but they are actually working for APC. That's politician for you. You've seen that worked out even in Rivers State, and some of the leaders, even some of the people that form the backrock of PDP, they will tell you that at the center, they are actually aligning, but at their subnational, they might consider seeing how they will have the weight of their political party. You see, all this that is actually happening is about individual interest, protecting their interest across board. And that's why a lot of people will tell you that it's looking more like one political party, because if you have 31 out of 36 and the other 5, maybe 3 of them are not seeking re-election, so they don't really have anything to lose out of the fate there. You might discover that as we speak, like 34, 35 of them are already in APC because majority of them claim to be in their party while they work underground for the opposition. We saw what played out in 2023 of the G5. They were still in PDP when they worked against their own candidate in favor of the opposition to see what actually happened. And they did not hide their face about that. So it speaks about do these politicians and the political parties have ideology, or is it about their personal gain and interest that they are all actually sorting for? We all see more to happen and more to unfold. But sincerely speaking, all other political parties acting in opposition do not stand the test of time to challenge the status quo, because they have one issue or the other that is, and when the internal problem is not settled, there is no how you can unanimously, challenge what the current administration are doing. APC had their way, even when they came together with other political parties against PDP, because they spoke with one voice, not the different voices that we are hearing with different political parties. If Labour is there to challenge like they did last year, as we speak, their arrow man has left and has gone to ADC. In ADC, you have like 4 or 5 gladiators that are up till now. We don't know who is actually the leader when it comes to that political party. Obi is there, Atiku is there, the former River State governor is there, and so other big wigs. So that gives a lot of challenge that when the main thing starts, it is then you will discover that even the ADC that a lot of people are considering as opposition to challenge status quo might not be able to weather the storm that will befall them there.
All right, then. Thank you so much for joining us on the Midday News today. I do appreciate your presence and your analysis.
Thank you very much, Chioma, for having me around, and I wish you the very best of the day, and to all our viewers across the globe also.
Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. We've been speaking with Olusegun Okwade, a public affairs analyst. The Midday News continues after the short break. When we return, Lagos one-stroke tanker operators against speeding. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. In Lagos, the state government has warned operators of articulated vehicles, tankers and trucks to strictly comply with traffic laws and speed limits. The special advisor to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on transportation, Shola Giwa, issued the warning in a statement following a crash involving a heavy-duty truck conveying compressed natural gas and a private vehicle at the Akpakun Bridge in Ward Oshodi. Giwa said the state would not hesitate to apply the full weight of the law against anyone found endangering lives through reckless or unlawful driving. He condemned the rise in cases of accidents linked to speeding, particularly among operators of trucks and other articulated vehicles, describing the behavior as irresponsible and dangerously negligent. Giwa added that such actions undermine the state government's goal of ensuring a safe, orderly and well-regulated transport system. Away from that story, the family of the late Nwamaka Chigbo has announced her 2-day funeral program. According to a statement released on behalf of the family and signed by Celestine Chigbo and Maureen Chigbo, the burial rites will hold on February 5 and 6, 2026 in Umoji, Idemili North Local Government Area of Anambra State. Nwamaka, an Abuja-based lawyer and former treasurer of the Nigerian Bar Association Abuja branch, was killed by kidnappers in the Federal Capital Territory. She was described as an active member of the MBA Abuja branch, the International Federation of Women Lawyers, and the Global Association of Female Lawyers. She also served as a former president of the Catholic Lawyers Association in Abuja. Still on the midday news, coming up next, the business, sports, and entertainment stories right after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now we take you straight to the world of business, where the Naira ended January 2026 stronger at the official foreign exchange market, closing at 1,391 Naira to the dollar, up from 1,431 Naira at the start of the month. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria shows the currency traded largely below the 1,425 mark during January, reflecting relative stability and improved liquidity. The performance builds on gains recorded at the end of 2025, signaling a cautiously optimistic start to 2026 for the Naira. The currency had closed trading on December 31, 2025 at 1,429 to the dollar, representing a 7.4% appreciation from the 1,535 recorded at the end of 2024. On a year-on-year basis, the Naira also improved from 1,475 to the dollar in January 2025. In the parallel market, the Naira strengthened as well, closing at 1,453 to the dollar, compared with an opening rate of 1,474. The narrowing gap between official and parallel market rates points to easing speculative pressure and improved confidence in the foreign exchange market. From business to sports, Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen was on target and provided an assist as Galatasaray trashed Kayserispor 4-0 in Sunday's league clash. The goal marked Osimhen's 200th career strike, comprising 165 club goals and 35 international goals. He has now scored 14 goals in 20 appearances across all competitions this season. Still talking sports, Atletico Madrid have confirmed reaching an agreement with Atalanta for the signing of Nigeria international Ademola Lookman. Lookman arrived in Spain on Sunday to undergo medicals ahead of the move. Atalanta are expected to receive a guaranteed fee of 35 million euros with performance-related bonuses of up to 5 million euros. The forward is set to sign a 4.5-year contract reportedly worth about 7 million euros per season. And finally, entertainment. Tyler, Bad Bunny, Kendrick Lamar, and Billie Eilish were among the big winners at the 2026 Grammy Awards held Sunday night at the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Tyler won Best African Music Performance, becoming the first artist to claim the award twice since the category was introduced. Kendrick Lamar took home Record of the Year for his Luther Vandross tribute, Luther, and also won Best Rap Album for GNX. His other wins included Best Rap Song for TV Off, Best Melodic Rap Performance for Luther, and Best Rap Performance for Chains and Whips. With the multiple wins, Lamar surpassed Jay-Z as the most awarded rapper in Grammy history with 27 awards. Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas O'Connell won Song of the Year for Wildflower, while Bad Bunny's Debbie Tirama Photos won Album of the Year, making history as the first Spanish-language album to win the category. Buddhist spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, won his first Grammy in the audiobook narration and storytelling category for Meditations, Reflections of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. 8-year-old Aura V also made history as the youngest Grammy winner after winning Best Children's Music Album alongside her father, Fuchs. Olivia Dean won Best New Artist, extending a streak of female winners in the category since 2017. Pharrell Williams received the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award, while Beyoncé remains the most awarded artist in Grammy history with 35 wins. And that's it on the midday news. Before we go, a quick look at the headlines. We told you that few traders have returned as Onitsha main market reopens amid a seat at home. Alison Madueke's trial resumes in London. Peter Obi slams federal government over multiple budgets. NLC-TUC to hold solidarity rally on February 3rd. On insecurity, northern leaders back peace in Southeast and South-South. Also, NIDA urges African leaders to sustain democracy and tackle seat-tight syndrome. In business, Naira ends January at 1,391 to the dollar as FX gap narrows. In sports, we told you that Osimhen has scored his 200th career goal. And in the world of entertainment, Tyler, Kendrick Lamar, Bad Bunny, Dalai Lama, and Aravi make Grammy history. Now do out subscribe to our YouTube channel on YouTube. We are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. If you witness news happening near you, we want to hear from you. Send your eyewitness reports, event coverage requests, photos or videos directly via WhatsApp to 0814-606-4057. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I'm Chioma Innocent. Good afternoon to you, and thank you for watching.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice. Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures